Hey, let's go, Knicks fans. Salute to everybody in the building early. Listen, man, I got an action-packed show. We got some topics to talk about today. We're going to talk about whether or not Cat is mad with his teammates and his coach. That's been the topic all weekend. Of course, we're going to talk about James Dolan on the Roommates podcast, some of his comments, some of his thoughts. We'll get to the bottom of that. We'll also talk about that Warriors game. Oh boy. Of course, Josh Hart coached Thibs. Some people were trying to make that a big deal. That was much ado about nothing. We talk about the power rankings. Oh, we do got a Knick of the week this week. Word on the street. And much more on this week inside the New York Knicks. Welcome to This Week Inside the New York Knicks, episode 20 of the 2024-25 season. I am your host, Karan Pierre, the Objective Fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest, and you know the vibes, y'all. Welcome to the building. We have an action-packed show today. Guys, hopefully you guys aren't too bummed out over the Karl-Anthony Town saga. We definitely gonna get to that. Couple of things before we begin. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to Crime's dad, Own Dios, and to everybody else that would be in the building. I did forget to send out the blast. Oh God, I'm gonna have to do that behind the scenes to get some more people in the building. But welcome to the pod. Over the weekend, St. John's, they did what they had to do. I'm gonna get to St. John's in a second. But over the weekend, we had the live play-by-play for the Warriors game. And it was kind of interesting watching that game together. The next game that's on the national TV schedule is Dallas, but we'll talk about that. Upcoming schedule, definitely be on the lookout for the midnight stream, Wednesday night into Thursday, after 12, the after midnight stream. Parlay builders, we had a tough go at it over the weekend. Made some picks we shouldn't have made, but that's okay. And we'll definitely be doing parlay Sundays again. I had some trouble on the back end with my camera, but everything looks good now, so we good. Apologies for my tardiness, but I'm gonna jump right into research mode early. On Dios, no, but it's good. The game is still going to be on MSG. I don't know where my phone is. The game is still going to be on MSG. So, all right. So when I do the live play-by-plays, it's for the games that are not on MSG. Not on MSG. So TNT, ABC, sometimes ESPN, but most of the ESPN games are also on MSG. And also the NBA TV games are always on MSG. So that's why I don't do it. I don't know where my phone is. So I can't sound out the blast, but it's okay. I think my phone is all the way up there. But it's all right. Whoever's in the building is in the building. So I'm gonna jump into research mode though. I want to kind of get moving because there's a lot of really good topics I really want to get into. By the way, this podcast is also associated with the blog thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. So definitely go there, click on episode 20 of the 24-25 season, and you'll be able to get a great breakdown of all the things that happened throughout the week, from March 10th to March 16th. Of course, our record during this stretch is 2-1. Two really good games without the Cat against Portland and Sacramento. Our record now is 42-24. That's where we are at this point during the season. Good place to be in. I mean, I think we're still on that record pace since 97. Or at least definitely since 2013, that 2013 team. So we're still in a good place. We did get some Jalen Brunson injury update news. I will get to that as well in a second. For sure, definitely will. As far as some of the special highlights I want to get into. I do want to give a big time salute to Mo Cheeks, being the high class character guy he was. He initially was the Portland Trailblazer coach back in a while back, and there was a young lady that had trouble singing the national anthem. Let me see if I could get. Let me see what this link is towards. But this lady right here. Okay, cool. I got a good image. So this lady right here. I gotta log into my athletic account. Don't feel like doing that. But this lady right here that was on the screen before the annoying pop-up, she was a young girl singing the national anthem like 20 years ago when Mo Cheeks was the coach of the Trailblazers. And, you know, she struggled to get through it. Nice voice, beautiful voice. I mean, she bodied it. She killed it. But, you know, he went over to her and helped her get through the, you know, the national anthem. And, you know, salute to Mo Cheeks for that, man. Once a nigga, always a nigga. And also, now he's an assistant coach. So I thought that was a good, you know, nice little opening story to cover. Of course, St. John's, definitely, they got their first Big East tournament win since 2000. I am an alumni of the Red Storm, you know, even though I'm a Duke fan. But definitely big time salutes to the Red Storm for getting it done under the legendary Coach Rick Pitino, who also was a coach of the Knicks. So once a Knick, always a Knick. You already know how we give it up over here. Always showing love, even though he left us to go to Kentucky. It's okay. He's back in the city, and he's with St. John's. He's helping the Johnnies do his thing. I think this is his first year coaching. And he's already gotten them to NCAA tournament. And they were first seed in the Big East. And so salute to these dudes doing what they got to do. Oh, by the way, salute to the Sport page in the building, channel member, and Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. We definitely going to talk about Cat in a second. That is the flagship topic. Some of the topics you can see on the side of the screen we're going to get to. The featured topic is that Cat and the Knicks and Draymond Green. We're going to talk about all of that. And Dolan on the podcast. So we're going to, all the topics you see on the screen right now, we definitely will get to those topics because those are the main topics I want to cover. So let me move the podcast forward and jump into some more topics before that. Okay. So also we got a Jalen Brunson injury update. Okay. And it looks like this was according to Shams, and he actually announced this during the Knicks and the Warriors game. Apparently, Shams reports that Brunson will be out another 1 or 2 weeks. Now, I don't mean it to always toot my own horn, but I got to toot my own horn because I did a video. Well, we talked about this on the pod last night, and I felt like that take was so good that I made it into a video, which a lot of you guys didn't watch. But I told you guys last week that I estimated that Jalen Brunson will be out anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks. The reason why is because there's different grades in ankle sprains. Not all ankle sprains are the same. That's why you see somebody sprain their ankle and they're literally back the next day, right? Or they're back the next week. So that's just what it is. In terms of when we talk about ankle sprains. Let me try to make this little adjustment, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. Make this little adjustment behind the scenes. But I gave that update a while ago. And I told you guys, when they didn't announce exactly what grade sprain it was, I was definitely concerned because grade A or grade 1 sprains, they usually keep you out anywhere between 1 to 3 weeks. Sometimes it could be a couple of days if it's really mild, no tearing, no nothing like that. Now grade 2 is more like moderate sprain where it takes 3 to 6 weeks. So usually if there's an injury that doesn't require much procedures and times, typically at you would see the team would announce he's going to be out a week, right? Like you see, look at LeBron, for example. They said LeBron would be evaluated in 1 week, right? And I think he's slated to come back in the next couple of days, right? So that's just my thing, that if it wasn't an issue, this is all I was trying to say. If it wasn't an issue, right, then they would have announced it. If it wasn't like a major issue, if it wasn't like a month potentially of him being out, the Knicks are also closed lip with it. But I just wanted to tie that in as I let my people know we're live. I just want to tie that into this pod because we talked about it last week, and then Sham gets on the live, and I told y'all during the game that we covered that last time. So let me jump back into research mode so you guys can see what's on the screen. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm gonna move forward because we talked about the injury and the timeline. Let me see. They said one or two more weeks because he's going on 2 weeks now, right? So it's looking like 1 or 2 more weeks, right? And you're talking about late March, which is like next week, but I'm thinking more like early April. So early April right now is you got Saturday, April 5th is Atlanta. Sunday, April 6th is Phoenix. We do got a Cleveland game on the 2nd of April. I wonder if he'll try to make the push then, but we'll see. Salute to some. I see some of the Knicks Tape Madness Discord people in here. Salute to you. Knicks will be chance 25-26, and salute to Yuri. All right, cool. So let me keep moving. So that's the Jalen Brunson injury update we got from Shams, which basically just confirmed what I said last week. I'm like a week ahead of these guys, man. This is why if you're not subscribed, you got to hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button as well. And if you are a subscriber to the channel, consider becoming a member. I'll talk more about the memberships later. Let me just restart my clock. Where I'm going to go next. It's a lot. You know what? Let's jump into Dolan. And like I said, if you just joined, no worries. We didn't get to the flagship topic yet. I'll keep the topics up for a little while so you can see what we're talking about. This is this week inside the Knicks. We talk about all the hot topics throughout the week between March 10th and March 16th. So I'm going through some things that just have to be addressed. It just has to be addressed. Now we got James Dolan. He was on the Roommates podcast. Salute to the Roommates podcast for getting a Dolan interview. You won't see anybody else get the Dolan interview. So it's kind of cool to see that the Roommates podcast doing what they got to do. They also, I think, on the same podcast addressed Kendrick Perkins and his commentary and critique that players who are active should not have a podcast. And I think that while there is merit to what Kendrick Perkins say, and they kind of also gave their response to Perkins, basically just saying otherwise why they do think they should. And I'm not trying to steal away all the thunder from the podcast. I think you should go watch it. I will talk about some of the things from the podcast, but there's a lot to that podcast with Dolan that I think you guys would appreciate. Dolan gets to show his side, his personality, something that you never really see from Dolan. And I'm going to say, this is why I think players doing the podcast, especially the way Jalen does it. I like the way Jalen and Josh does it, where it's more of an interview focus and it's not a focus on just talking about basketball. Like PG does a lot more talking about that, even though he has guests there. But I don't like when you're just talking about basketball mainly, like, oh, this is going on, like what Draymond does. You know, oh yeah, the Knicks they suck, or I don't like that. I like the part where you're actually doing interviews with people that you would like to see interviewed, because they kind of get a lot of interviews from people that you typically wouldn't see. I just lost my soundboard. Hold on. Yeah, we still good. We still live. I don't know what happened to my soundboard. Let me get that back. Okay, cool. So I appreciate that. They can get the interviews that others can't. So if it's going to be that style of podcast and the team is playing well, I do think like if your team is bad, like in Paul George's case, I wouldn't podcast with my team being terrible like that. You know what I'm saying? But if your team is playing well and your podcast is not really centered on covering the NBA, go for it. Go for it. But in cases like Draymond Green, I do think that, yeah, he should wait till he retires to do his thing. But some of the thing that I want to talk about with Dolan is I want to talk about longevity. Longevity is something that was mentioned a lot on this podcast. So Okay. So yeah, this is actually the response to Kendrick Perkins too, where they say there's much worse things you could be doing than having a podcast. Brunson said, noting that he's going to be talking to Josh Hart, whether it's on the podcast or not. That's another good point that they said. So basically, in their spare time, they're going to be they're only doing in their spare time what they're doing on the pod, right? It's not like they're doing extra. They're not preparing the show like I do. I do 1,000,001 things. So when you see me start late, it's because something went wrong. Every time I start late, it's because something went wrong. Okay. So it's a lot that goes into pod. But if you're just showing up and just talking, I don't see a problem with that. Now, if you're doing like marketing and you're trying to really do all the grassroots stuff as the basketball player, yeah, I don't think that you should do that while you're active, right? Like what Gil is doing with Gil's Arena. If you're doing what Gil is doing, I think that's too much. Where you're going live 4 times a week, and no, once a week is fine. Now, Knicks owner James Dolan, and that's why I highlighted this. Dolan lost original turnaround plan from Leon Rose. We're kind of there. So Leon Rose has a plan. And I remember it was reported by the media that Leon Rose stated that he wants to build a championship team within 5 years of his tenure. Well, guess what? We have a championship caliber team within 5 years of his tenure. And so this is what Dolan said. We're kind of there. Karl-Anthony Towns was sort of the last piece. This is a key, guys. I am not expecting any significant changes. Dolan said on the latest episode of the Roommate Show podcast with Knicks stars Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Now, it's all up to these guys, the coach, to make it happen. I don't know. Do you think we're missing any pieces? Now, a lot of people keeps talking about trades and things that they feel the Knicks should make, according to the owner, and he's basically saying what Leon Rose thinks is that we got everything. I think that the only thing they could improve upon is the bench, and more in particular getting a 6'9" forward that could play a little defense and maybe shoot the 3-ball. I think that's the only thing this team is missing, like a 6'9" wing guy, that 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guy off the bench. I think that if they can get that next year, I think that would be a significant improvement. I don't think they're going to move off of Mitchell Robinson. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like this is the team that they really believe in and they really want to go with. And I'm going to talk. Let me see if I get another quote from Leon Rose, or is the same. Let me see. Okay, so this is talking about the times where Dolan was more involved and they would reach for what he calls the shiny object, going out there, signing Maurice Cheeks after Phoenix said they wouldn't sign him for the guaranteed full 5 years because their doctor said that his knees will not hold up. But we go sign Maurice Cheeks. And yes, he made the one All-Star team, but he was not the All-NBA player that he was, initially. So that's what he means by going after the shiny object. And there's no waving a wand over the team. So it's a process. It's a process. It doesn't happen that way, right? He also talked about in the podcast, and he reiterated many a times that he said, this team is going to be together for a couple of years, meaning that this team is not going to be broken up. Okay? Not going to be broken up. As far as I think there's one more point. And here is, I think, the one of the most fascinating points in the podcast from Dolan, right? Something we can draw on. In order to do that, the first thing you have to do is believe that you can win, that you can win a championship. You really, really believe that. You're not going to worry about podcasts. You're not going to worry about you're playing with other guys, how the communication is going, what you can do better. Just give it time, and I think it will happen. So he believes that this team, as constructed, can win a championship, right? And that's great news. That's great news that your owner is 100% in with Leon Rose. We know from the top down, they're in unison, they're together, and there's not no problem. It's not no problem. other than that, there's more things to this podcast. He talked about never selling the team. But go watch the Roommates podcast. I don't want to steal any more thunder from it. I think it's a very positive podcast. I think this is probably top 5 podcasts they ever did, because you got to see the owner in a light that you wouldn't have seen him this way anywhere else. So good job by Jalen and Josh for getting this interview and conducting it the way that they did. I thought it was fantastic. Like it didn't seem fugazi, right? It didn't seem like, they were, reaching, trying to just paint the owner in a good light, just caping for the owner. I didn't get that vibe. I thought it was a real genuine conversation, and I recommend you guys go check it out. Let me move forward. Thibs and Bridges, they sort of resolved their issue, the issue that never was. We talked about this a lot on the call-up show, so definitely go check out the call-up show. If you go to the live video sections in the channel, if you really want to hear a thorough breakdown of this, you can go listen to the call-up show. I'm not going to really talk about the issue too much because it's been resolved. There is two articles I want to touch on, and it's the first 2 that's here. By the way, if you're just watching, this is where I'm reading from is thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, which is the blog that's also connected to this podcast. The link to this blog is also in the description of this video in case you want to go see some of the other articles that may appear on the screen that I won't cover, or you want to read more about the articles we do talk about. But Stephen A. Smith is a guy who I'm not going to lie, I look up to in terms of he has been the blueprint or the archetype for what we do talking sports. Just watching him come up in the mid 2000s and even in somewhat in the early 2000s, talking sports the way he did. A lot of us talk sports the way we do is because of him, whether you agree with him or not. He is a pioneer in the industry, and that's why he is the highest paid commentator. But I don't agree with a lot of Stephen A. Smith says, especially when he's a Knick fan and he's like downing the Knicks. Like, I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't understand why you don't uplift the Knicks when they deserve it. Why is it that, and maybe he has more information than we have. That's a fair point. But at the same time, it's just some of the things he says, he's just off base. Knicks community blast Stephen A. Smith for stirring Tom Thibodeau controversy, right? And you know what? I'm going to give a salute to me. New York City salute to me, because when this happened, and you could ask Yuri, he was in the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server when I said that, when I think Yuri was one of the first people to point it out. And I said, listen, I am not jumping off the deep end based off of these preliminary reports, because I need to hear more. I can't just say an article comes out, statements are made. Why were the statements made? Yuri asked the question, well, why would Mikal say this? And then we find out that Stefan Bondi asked the question about the meeting. It wasn't that Mikal independently brought the meeting up, right? So here's the thing. This is Stephen A. Smith. Tom Thibodeau is in trouble. He's in a world of trouble, right? He said this on First Take. Tom Thibodeau refused to acknowledge that there was a one-on-one conversation. He said it never happened. And here's where Bridges has the credibility. He's the Iron Man of the league. He's always playing. He doesn't miss games. He doesn't miss minimal minutes. We have never heard Mikal complain about anything, let alone minutes. That's what he said on First Take. And the only reason why the take is bad, it would be a great take if it was validity to it, but the reason why the take was bad, because this is what media is all about. We see clicks and headlines and we just react to it, whether it's right or not, whether give it time. Like, I give it time. That's what I do on this show. This show is this channel, this platform is a calculated, I'm going to take my time. I'm not rushing to put out content. Even talking about this cat topic, I'm not rushing to jump to conclusions like everybody else did yesterday. Everybody yesterday jumped off the deep end and was like, Towns is going to have an issue and it's wrong and it's da-da-da-da. And we're going to get to that. If you just joined, we will get to that. That is the flagship topic. But at the same time, you know, if you took a couple of days, right? And these are the topics I put it back on the screen. If you took a couple of days and you waited, you would have found out that it was a misunderstanding caused by none other than Stephon Bondi. Now, I don't have a problem with Stephon Bondi. I know the Post and the Knicks hadn't had a good history. There's been a lot of just, you know, between Dolan and just criticizing the Knicks and, you know, especially when the Knicks were bad. But I would say in recent years, the Post really hasn't been that bad. And this honestly is the worst I've seen from the Post in a while. And I know this because for the past 2 years, I've been doing shows like this. But even prior to that, I always read a lot of Knick news. But I literally read every single worthy Knick pieces of content in media. And I've been analyzing the Post. They may say little things here or there, but nothing to this magnitude where it actually caused a stir in the marketplace, so to speak. Now, this is my problem right here. Coach remains cagey. Coach remains cagey. Now, if you want to see a breakdown of the whole drama that never really existed, like I said, you could go watch the Knicks call-up show. We did a great job unpacking it there. I'm gonna say this, right? Clearly, there's some sort of, I don't want to say vendetta, so to speak, but there's something to this commentary on Coach Thibs, right? Maybe Coach Thibs, they don't like each other. That's fine. I mean, I don't really get involved in subjective matters like this. I am the objective fan. But calling Coach Thibodeau cagey after we realized that, Stephon, you were the one that's part of the blame for the miscommunication, to me just shows that there's something other underlying beyond this issue, right? Beyond this issue that we don't know, because we're just fans and we're not in the locker room or we're not in the Post headquarters when they're talking and having their meetings and putting out stuff. And so we don't know. But look, this is the key thing for me. In this article, I look at the coach remains cagey. If you want to read this article, is this a Post Plus? This might be a Post Plus article, but the link to this is on the blog, like I said. But we're not talking about any of that stuff Thibodeau said at Friday's practice, because you know why? Coach Thibs and Mikal, they got together and they laughed. And you know what they said? We're not even going to discuss the resolution, the details of the resolution to the media, because we realize that there are people out there trying to tear this team apart. And that's what the flagship topic, as you can see on the screen, Cat and Knicks drama, is going to be all about. Okay? I think that this is a play now, and I'm going to get more into it. But that's all I want to talk about the Thibs and Bridge saga. There is no saga. There is no issues. They resolved it. Like men, you have a conversation. You realize, oh, okay. That was a plot. That was a ploy. That was a plot. That was a ploy. By the way, I do want to let you guys know, to all my subscribers who are not channel members, that you could actually join the channel. We do have channel memberships, and I'm going to pull it up. All you got to do is click on the join button, which should actually be on the video if you're looking at the video. And I'm going to talk to you guys briefly about what you will get when you join the channel. We have 2 packages. I'm only going to talk to you about the Start a Knicks Fan package, because to me, that package is a great way to get it, a solid feel for what the channel memberships is all about. Now, when you join this channel, the first thing you're going to get access to is the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. It's not listed here. I'm still tweaking the actual comment, the actual content that's listed there. But you get access to that. And it's basically a Discord server dedicated to, Knicks fans having conversation. We got a 24/7 Knicks chat, 24/7 NBA chat, and 24/7 Fight Fans Only chat. And we're in there. And this is the best way to extend the conversation with me. So if you fill in the platform, getting a channel membership, when you pay the $4.99, it's not just a donation. You want to support the channel. You actually do get more access to me when you do it. So you get access to the Discord server. Of course, we have members only shows. We did the Parlay Builder show yesterday, which is normally a hardcore show, but I did it for all the members just so they could see what being a part of the hardcore package is like. But we also do other members only shows like the After Midnight stream. Sometimes that will be a members only stream. Sometimes I'll open it up to the public. Sometimes I might have an open public show, but it might just be a members only chat. But yeah, we definitely do have members only chats. Also, you guys get priority replies to comments. That is on live shows, and that will also be on just content like videos, polls, because I drop polls pretty much mostly every day. So anytime, a member posts a comment, I get right to them, and then we can have that conversation in the thread. Of course, members always get shouted out. Salute to all the members that's in the building now. Knicks will be champs 25-26. Yuri is in the building. Crime's dad was in here early. So consider joining the channel. And you also, of course, get discounts, further discounts on merch. And I'm working on expanding the merch line as well. So I just had to share that with you before we move on to the next topic. I'm going to jump into some more topics. If you just joined, we didn't get into the flagship yet. I will talk about Karl-Anthony Towns and the Knicks drama. Is there problems in the locker room? What to expect? Are we doomed? I'm going to get into all of that stuff because yesterday it was crazy everywhere. Everywhere there was people talking about the Knicks yesterday, it was like, oh my God, why would they do that? We're going to get to that, okay? Now, I'm going to have to promote the After Midnight show on this one because we talked about this Channing Frye when Channing Frye made the comment about Thibs burning guys out. And that's why they're getting hurt. I kind of debunked that again. I debunked this whole theme that Coach Thibs burned out his players and that leads to them getting injured. I burnt that out in like at least 5 different videos, lives. And I actually have a video from like 2 years ago where I go into great detail showing that's just cap. It's never been true. But once again, this is why you guys follow channels like this, guys that really pay attention to the news and is going to give it to you straight. Because national media guys, they usually, and NBA TV does, I think, the best job. If you ask me, out of all of the national TV media that covers the NBA, I think NBA TV does the best job. I think it's also because they have the best information. They have all the analytics. It is the NBA itself. So the NBA TV does a great job for the most part. But Channing Frye, who is a part of NBA TV, once again, you just reading off titles. You're just reading off narratives, and that's what you comment on. So like this show, like when you listen to this show, right, you see I got hot topics, right? But I'm not just reading from a script. I'm actually giving you the perspective from the fans, right? But more than just that, it's an objective perspective and it's level-headed. So that's why you come and you listen to this channel. But a lot of these times when you hear people make commentary like this, clearly they're misinformed. So go check out the After Midnight show. Yes, I am promoting the shows. If you really want to see me break that down, because I literally spent some time on that, showing why that's just cap. But yeah, these guys are just, they're just reading notes, and it's circled on there. And then part of the gig is talent. Do you have the talent to bring a take to life? And one thing I value about myself on this channel is just not about my captivating ways of explaining the take, is actually giving an informed perspective. That to me matters a lot. So that's why I do this Knick channel, because I do this in my sleep. I literally bleed. Not only do I bleed orange and blue, I sleep it, I breathe it, I think it, I know it. Okay. Now I do want to also talk about Brunson in China. I got to give Jalen Brunson a big time salute. He is definitely expanding his brand. I think it's important to understand your audience. And I think that it's smart for people to understand what they know and what they don't know. Mr. Brunson said it was key for me to let someone else do it because they understand it more than me, because he partnered up with this agency in China to help grow his brand there, right? Now Knicks star Mr. Brunson, 28, took a crucial step, becoming a goal before the current NBA season when his representation at CAA, salute to the CAA Mafia. Okay, CAA Mafia in the building. We're going to talk more about CAA. There's a topic I want to point out. There's something about a topic I want to point out that involves CAA. But anyway, enlisted a digital management company, East Goes Global, okay? So, I forgot it was a CAA, because I did read the East Go Global, but I didn't realize it was a CAA agency. Okay. To create and run Chinese social media accounts for him, right, in the month since. And Mr. Brunson gained more than 400,000 followers across the country. Okay, so he's becoming a star in China, and I think that that's very, very, very integral and very important for players to establish their brands, especially in a market like China where there's over 1 billion people. Now, Brunson is one of several NBA players looking to establish an online presence in China where millions of people follow the league closely. And they thinking that this is what helped him get some votes in the All-Star game too. So salute to China, salute to China for sure, but also salute to Brunson for having the foresight through CAA to go get that marketing over in China. It can only help his brand. And in fact, I think that this summer he needs to go to China for sure, if that wasn't a part of the plans already. Now, I didn't get a chance to do a poll on this. I will tomorrow. But you guys can let me know how you feel in the chat. Oh, by the way, hold on, let me see if there's anything in the chat. HR in the Great. HR in the Great, you got to stop. Sign Danasis. Why? Because you want to get Giannis? It's not going to happen. Let me see. Knicks will be champs. He's talking to Yuri. Certain Knick content creators won't name names will follow suit and paint Thibs in the worst light. Yeah, that's a fact. And that's another thing about me. You guys know I don't take sides. I don't care to be a part of the Coach Thibs protection policy. I give credit where it deserves. I'm not a part of the Jalen Brunson defense protection, and that's what we're getting ready to talk about now. Let me see a couple of more chats before I move. I know I'm moving a little fast. I'm anticipating a lot of replay people, so I want to get this out for them. Yuri said calling Coach Thibs KG is way too far. I mean, yeah, that's personal. Salute to Trevor in the building. Hopefully I get a call from you this Thursday, Mr. Trevor. And oh, by the way, on the After Midnight stream on Wednesday, to all you vampires, I think I'm going to take calls because I had trouble taking calls last time. I might take calls on that show after a while. We'll see what happens. But because we got some games, right? I know we got Miami tonight, San Antonio. Ooh, honestly, this schedule is looking pretty sexy. This schedule, Miami, San Antonio, Charlotte, Washington, that's a 4-game winning streak right there. I expect nothing less from these guys. So when we doing the pod next week, we'll see. But so we do got a game on Wednesday. So yeah, we'll take some calls because I'm assuming it'll be some post-game stuff going on. So that's cool. But I'm gonna jump into I didn't get a chance to ask this poll and expect to see this in the morning, top of the morning. But Knicks top 5 in defense since Jalen Brunson's injury. I'm gonna do a poll on that, okay? And Mitchell Robinson's return. Right now, I still think we do rank 5th. I didn't check the updates since post the Warriors game, but we were around 5th in defensive rating if you calculate the time since Brunson hasn't been there. But to be fair, Brunson is only missed a week, right? He only missed what? 1, 2. Let me see. He's missed because he got hurt in the Lakers game. 1, 2, 4 games. So you only missed 4 games, a very short sample size. And yes, the defense yesterday was very impressive. But as you've seen in that Warriors game, I mean, if I have time, I'll touch on it a little bit. We was without our closer. So all that defense, where does it get you? Doesn't get you to win, right? So yeah, so we rank 5th in defensive rating since he's been gone, since he's been out, right? The McBride effect. Deuce McBride looks incredible as a starter. Big time facts. He's logged 4 steals and 2 blocks in Portland. He has at least 1 steal in each of his last 5 games. Knicks are holding opponents to 99.5 points per possession. That's incredible. And he leads all guards in defensive rating over the last 7 games. Now, I may not have originated the idea, okay? I may not have originated the idea, but I'm going to say that I did at one point say that, hey, maybe if you want to start Mitch, maybe you should start Deuce at the 2. I do remember me saying that, and the reason why I presented it is because I feel like Deuce is better for guarding point guards. Mikal is better player, period, but I'm just saying at guarding the position, I think Mikal is better guarding 2s and 3s. Deuce is better guarding 1s. And you've seen it even in the Steph Curry game, though I think Steph still had 30, but I think that he wasn't efficient for sure. He definitely was picking him up 94 feet. Mikal can't do that. Mikal can't. Mikal's not picking up point guards from 94 feet. I don't expect him to do that. So, of course, it's too late now, and I don't think the starting lineup's going to change right now. I mean, even though there's been hints that, you know, Thibs is waiting for his starting center to get back, but how many games has Mitch been back? Maybe 8 games, and he still doesn't look like he's ready to start. He has his moments, but you know, it just doesn't look like he's ready to start. And honestly, tinkering with your starting lineup in March and April, I don't think is the wisest thing, especially when you have probably the best. I got Dusty to admit that we have the best starting 5 in basketball, right? But what do you guys think about the defense? I'm going to say, yes, the defense is better, but the offense is worse. In the same span, we're still ranked 19th, and we were ranked 19th in offensive rating. More defense, less offense. That's what I said. Even when you start Mitch, more defense, less offense, right? Because the offense, when you have the 5 that you've been having out there, it's probably the best offensive 5 in basketball. I mean, each one of those guys on any given night could give you 25 points. You know, Josh Hart can give you 5-6 assists. Brunson's giving you 7 assists. If we see Big Bodega sometimes can get his assists. Ball moves. Guys are smart. They're learning how to play with each other. I swear, next year, I think this Knick team is going to be on a crazy run. But what do you guys think about the defense? I'm going to say defense is better, top 5, but the offense is 19. Okay? So you got to keep that in mind. Yeah, you get better defense, but your offense suffers, and you see what not being as proficient or efficient in the offense gets you, right? So yeah, let me move forward. I wanted to also talk about I'm gonna give reference to preface. Now look, I know I've been hard on Landry Shamet. Not hard, but I felt like Precious would be better as a 9th man. But salute to Landry Shamet. I'm still leaning towards Precious, but because I'm objective, and when I get information to the contrary, I will make the shift. And I'm gonna say that based off what I've been seeing, Landry Shamet has been defending a lot better, right? I still don't think he's a defensive stopper. He's still 6'4". He's undersized, especially when you're playing him at the 3 most times, but he fights. He's going to fight. I love the fight. And if you're going to fight, that you win credit with me, right? Because I appreciate when smaller guys rise to the occasion. And his shooting has been solid. Recently in recent games, he wasn't scoring, but nobody was really scoring. So I'm not going to put that on him. But he has, every time I want to say take him out the game, he'll hit a 3. Every time I say take him out the game, he'll get a steal. So Landry Shamet is doing his thing. But I do want to point out this comment. This is the only reason why I put this up there, right? This is Coach Thibs talking about the bench production being at the bottom. By the way, like I always say, I feel like the bench is going to, the narrative will change with that, and the Knicks will have one of the better benches. But look at what Coach Thibs has said. Coach Thibs says, we started the season with Landry hurt and Deuce McBride not 100%. So our wings did play more, Thibs said, talking about minutes. So they're playing a little bit more than I would like, yeah. But notice what he said. Landry hurt and Deuce McBride was not 100%. Was that him just talking about the guards, or was that him saying that Precious, who also was hurt, is not in his mix? So Precious is not in. To me, I took it as, yes, I know he's talking about wings, but remember, OG Anunoby's a wing. So Precious would be backing him up, and that will move OG to the 3. That's one way to move OG to the 3. Of course, Town sliding to the 4 also could move OG to the 3. But I'm just saying, we know for a fact that Precious has been the 4, and for him to not mention him shows me that Precious is out of the rotation. As much as I've been arguing for him, his play, though I do think is kind of related to inconsistent minutes, I'm starting to see why Landry Shamet has gotten a nod. So that's the only reason why I brought that up. That's the only reason why I brought that up. Let me move off of that. We talked about defense. I'm not gonna talk about Mitch. Mikal has been stepping up to the plate, but he didn't step up in the Warriors game, so I don't want to spend too much time on Mikal. Let me see anything. Oh, this is gonna be the last hot topic I'm gonna talk about before we move forward. And I want to point this out. Of course, we know that PJ Tucker was signed to the Knicks. We talked about it last week. That's when he was initially signed to the 10-day contract. No, I don't think there's no words of whether or not he will get another 10-day. I do expect the Knicks to say they're gonna keep him on unless this Towns drama, pushes him to the side. Maybe, I don't know. And Towns, we're gonna get the flagship topic next. But I do want to say this. This is something that I didn't realize. And to bring it back to the CAA Mafia connection I was making earlier, Tucker's most important connection was a longtime client of Leon Rose. I didn't even realize I didn't even think to look up he's Rose's client, who now runs the Knicks front office. There were a few options. The thing was just trying to pick the right place, Tucker said. I always felt like the Knicks were my first option throughout the whole process, so I was happy to wait it out and be able to make it happen. So PJ Tucker, in my opinion, I'm going to give a New York City salute to PJ Tucker. I think that he definitely deserves to be on the team for the rest of the season. And has nothing to do with playing basketball. It has everything to do with the next topic. But it's funny that he's actually going to be on the wrong side technically on the next topic. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. It's definitely going to be interesting. As I jump into this next topic, be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit that like button, right? And also, if you're subscribed, hit the bell icon. That's another thing, too, we got to tell you guys, because a lot of you guys don't get the notification, okay? So hit the bell icon so you get all the notifications. And if you're a subscriber, consider joining the channel, right? I went over some of the perks earlier, but if you join the channel, I guarantee you're going to like the additional content that comes with becoming a member. So let me move forward. Now we're going to jump into Flagship. Oh boy, I know you guys were waiting for this. I know this is what the thumbnail is pointing out. I'm going to say this, guys. See this thumbnail right here? Is Cat upset at the Knicks? Is Cat upset with the Knicks? Is he mad? Look at the picture. You see Draymond Green hugging Coach Thibs, your beloved coach, hugging your forward, OG Anunoby. There's more. Okay. And I also had another flagship topic, but I'm gonna do the flagship first, and then I'm gonna get to the other stuff. Okay. Now, let me just find the article. Let's see where's that. Josh Hart. Okay, right here. Boom. So New York Post once again. This time is not Stephon Bondi. It's Gerard Schwartz. Salute to Gerard Schwartz. He's on the job. So okay. Yeah, and I'm logged in. Good. Okay, cool. So on the game on Saturday against the Warriors, right? It was kind of dicey, right? It was you felt the tension was there. Towns was serious. Towns came out gunning. I think he had 11 points in the first quarter. He was taking the challenge on, and he got fouled. He got in foul trouble. He had three fouls in the second quarter, which he would have had 40. I'm gonna keep it real. Towns would have had 40. He was really going hard this game. It's just the foul trouble, and him trying to be conscientious of picking up the fourth foul in the second half, and he did finish with 5 fouls. Okay. Now, we know the comments. We covered it last week, right? We know Draymond Green, he says things on this podcast, and it's all for clicks and views. I don't think that Draymond Green hates Towns. I don't think that there's real animosity there. Now, Jimmy Butler and Towns, I think there's real animosity there. That's why it's quiet. Usually, like when guys got beef with each other, and they're considering doing things to each other, they don't even mention the other guy. I don't think you have any Jimmy Butler quotes about Towns. Hold on. Do we have any Jimmy Butler quotes? Did you guys see anything on the national media stage? Because I didn't see Jimmy Butler say anything about Towns. I could be off with that, but I didn't really see that. And I didn't really pay attention to the post-game interviews too that night for that game. I saw Draymond Green's post-game interview, and we're going to talk about that. But I didn't see anything from Jimmy Butler mentioning Towns, nor did I see Towns mention anything about Jimmy Butler. So Jimmy Butler, even though he's a part of it, he's technically not a part of this, okay? So prior to the comments, the insensitive comments by Draymond Green, and it even went to the point where I never do this, but I even called Draymond an ad hom. I did. I went there last week. I didn't even realize it. I just said it in the heat of the moment, and yeah, because I felt like what he was doing was wrong. I always knew it was a play, right? I always knew it was just to get his podcast more a look. So this is the era we're in. You say whatever you want, controversial, to get the look. It's all about the look. And that's my problem. And that's what I don't like when players do podcasts, because that's what media does. So now you're becoming like the very media that you criticize. And I'm not sure if Draymond is that. I know he has been critical of the media in the past, but he works with TNT. So he partakes in the show, the media show. So Draymond, his comments, even though he tried to throw in a little, the family, I feel for the family, to try to soften it, but that brother only cares about the content, and he has an ego. He's not going to apologize. It took him everything. I'm surprised he apologized to Jordan Poole, but it did. Look how long it took him to apologize publicly, right? Okay, cool. So we know going into the game there was problems. Now, Towns, because during the live play-by-play, this clip right here. Hold on, let me see. I might run it. So I'm gonna run the clip. All right. So Towns, he headed straight back to the locker room. Is this just Towns going? Okay, yeah. So when I saw, all right, so Towns going to the locker room, right? When I saw Towns walk to the locker room, I wasn't sure if he was dapping up like Mikal dapped up Green, PJ Tucker. That's his man. By the way, look, PJ Tucker and Green got a good relationship. Green, believe it or not, has good relationships with a lot of veterans in the league, right? So I wasn't sure if Towns took part of that at first, but Towns clearly didn't. Towns walked off, right? Now, in your opinion, was the walk off, due to, was he mad that they lost? Is he mad that Draymond Green hit the layup? Is he mad at his teammates at this point? I don't know, because Towns wasn't even out there to see the teammates do it. Look, Towns and Mitch straight to the back. But also, notice how he walked past Mitch, right? Mitch was the first one to dap up Draymond Green. Mitch was the first one to dap up Draymond Green right before the bell, right as the final bell went off, right? So you see Bridges, you see Tucker, right? Coach Thibs gets in there. Jimmy Butler's even saying what's up to some people, right? Now here's another question that nobody considered. Was Towns walking away? Was that him not wanting to shake hands with Jimmy Butler? Because there was a play, a couple of plays after that incident where Towns was barking at when Draymond, first off, if you calling another man soft, right? If you calling another man soft, why are you saying it to the crowd? You're not on the road. It's not like there was now granted, Knicks fans do travel, and by the way, salute to J-Tap. He was actually in the building. So could it have been a Knicks fan? Possibly. There could have been a Knicks fan there. So I gotta be fair. It could have been a Knicks fan there. But at the same time, the man is right behind you, right next to you. Why are you telling the crowd he's soft? That to me is just like, I don't understand that. That's not trash talking. Then when Towns hit him, boom, Towns hit him. The guy who they say is soft, he hit Draymond. That's why, and that's what led to the exchange. And then Draymond Green with his hand in the air, go sit your soft A down. He wasn't saying it in his face until Towns came in his face. But when Towns was coming to him, there was a whole lot of people in between. So there's no action. Anyway, after that happened, there was another instance on camera that no one's really talking about where Towns and Draymond could be seen talking at the line. Now, was it a friendly conversation? I don't know. I have no idea. But Towns didn't really look like. Towns to me looks like he deals with his anger appropriately, where he's not going to allow it to take him out of the game. You could tell he was fired up, but it wasn't like, I'm going to force it. It was just, I'm just going to play my game. Now, yes, did he have turnovers? Yes, he did, for sure, especially down the stretch. But I'm just saying, for the most part, I don't feel like, outside of maybe the hitting of the, when he hit Draymond to foul him, I can't say that Towns was too out of control. Was there things that going on? Yeah, of course, but I can't say he was too out of control. So I'm not going to play the rest of the video, but I know, see, so look, this is what I was talking about. This is Mitch and Draymond, right? This is as the thing went on. So a lot of people acknowledge Draymond Green, right? This is Coach Thibs, right? This is that's the image I use on the thumbnail. OG Anunoby, right? And let me see if they got the list of guys here. They got the list of everybody. Okay. Draymond Green post game with Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, Tom Thibodeau, Marchand Beecham. You know he ain't making the team. You know Marchand is gone. I'm joking. Darren Erman, Precious Achua, Mikal Bridges, and PJ Tucker. He might be gone too. Nah. Now, to my old school people, salute to my man in the Discord. What's my man name in the Discord? SB, oh God, SB, I can't remember his name. SB something. So I'm just gonna say my man SB, all right? So my man SB was in there, and he comes from a different era. I come from a different era too. I go back to the 90s. I know what it's like. And so, I get it if you're from a different era where we had fights. I mean, it's one thing to watch the YouTube video of when we had the fight with the Miami Heat. It's another to actually be watching the game in that moment and see the blows being thrown where you get up and now you want to fight and you like, screw Miami. Them days is over, man. These guys are all friends. These guys all have relationships off the court. These guys do not dislike each other, man. These guys are friends. Okay? These guys do not dislike each other. Okay? These guys are friends. Now, I'm going to say this. If Towns is upset, if he's bothered, he hasn't said anything to the media about it, which is a plus. That is a plus. We don't want Towns going to the media and complaining about this. Oh, my teammates saying, because now that's going, you already see what they're trying to do. They're trying to divide us. This to me, right, even though Knick fans agree for the most part that the Knicks shouldn't adapt up Draymond and Jimmy, right? But notice it's the post. Knicks teammates dap up. Hip hop language. Salute the hip hop. We run the world. I used to rap. So sometimes it just pours out of me. I'm not going to say everything 100% the right way. I'm a hip hop baby. Okay. Knicks teammates dap up Draymond Green. They dap up great Draymond Green. Despite his controversial, look at the use of the controversial, man. This is a play to divide Knicks Nation. This is what this is. This is what this is. You seen what they did with Mikal. And what do we do as Knicks fans? We read right into it. Now, Cat has every right, like I was trying to say. He has every right to feel some type of way, right, with the teammates, if he feels that way. Is it something that's going to divide the locker room? No. I don't see it being that serious because let's keep it real, Towns. You got friends on other teams that other guys don't like either. I don't know who directly, but it bothers me when I see at the end of the Miami Heat game, you guys are shaking hands. I hate the Miami Heat. I hate the Indiana. I shouldn't say that word. I don't like the Indiana Pacers. I don't like the Miami Heat. I don't like those teams. I grew up disliking them. From ever since the Miami Heat was founded by Pat Riley. I don't like them dudes. They are the arch enemy. But I got to go on podcasts and see the Roommates podcast and see them, saying good things about Halliburton. He's a pacer to me. Y'all not supposed to like each other. But that's just not the way the NBA works today. So I don't think that Towns, because he also partakes in the NBA camaraderie. And don't forget, hold on, nope. And don't forget, what did Towns say? Hold on. What did Towns say? Josh Hart said he wished Draymond would have handled it in a different way. Salute to Josh Hart. You didn't see that. I don't think Josh Hart was dapping up nobody out there. I didn't see no images of Josh Hart out there dapping up. Hold on, but what did Towns say? Hold on. Let me see if I can get there. I want to put this on the screen. I don't think I have it because it was last week. So I'm gonna have to quote it. But Karl-Anthony Towns said it out of his own mouth. I am going to choose to respond with love. So if Towns is going to respond with love, then we can't get mad with the Knicks for responding with love. Because at that very moment, Towns could have got the troops with him. If Towns would have said, yo, I got a problem with what he said, and he's going to have to see me on the court. I don't think PJ Tucker would do what he did if he would have known that it was that type of energy. But when Towns says that I'm going to respond with love, it's kind of like he can't, like he could feel some type of way, but to make it a thing amongst the teammates, I think Towns would be out of pocket for that because you didn't have that energy when the comments was initially stated. Now, yes, you did hit him on the court, but nobody got thrown out the game. There was no punches thrown. There was no, when he addressed Draymond Green, Towns, he smiled and he was all right, I'm going to continue to give you the business. That's all it was. There was no, because like I said, they were talking after that. So it wasn't a contentious environment. It really wasn't. It wasn't. It was friendly to me. As somebody who watched, 90s basketball, right? As somebody who watched 90s basketball, when it was real, when you could feel the intensity, I can't look at today's game the same. Sometimes, and that's why I tell some people when we want to make these old school comparisons, like people get mad at me when I say Steph Curry to me is the best point guard of all times. They ridicule me. They say, what are you talking about? How could Steph be the best point guard of all times? It don't make no sense. Magic Johnson's the best point. But why can't there be a new thought? Like sometimes we hold on to the old to a point where we don't recognize what's going on right in front of us. And that's when it becomes a problem. I love the 90s. That's my favorite ever. But at the same time, I can't act as if these guys today don't got their own thing going. They got new moves. They got their own thing in their own era. I keep things in the eras to their perspective. Even when I compare eras, I don't compare eras. So like the reason why that bald-headed guy out of Chicago is the GOAT to me is because he was more dominant against his peers than anybody else, I feel, right? And in the modern era, of course, Bill Russell in the pre-modern era, he would have that argument. I'm talking about modern era basketball, 75 after, right? I compare dominance of eras. I don't look at, okay, Michael Jordan actually against LeBron because that's just hypothetical. It's two different eras, two different times. The games is played differently. But what we could see is how dominant Michael was against his peers. It took Michael to retire for Houston to win the championship. Not to say that Houston wouldn't have beat them. We would never know because we never seen it. We would never know because we never seen it. But Towns said he was going to respond with love. So his team chose to respond with love. But these guys have relationships, man. And Towns, I guarantee, okay, who we play next? Miami, San Antonio, Charlotte, Washington. I guarantee you're going to see Towns happy and smiling. That's the NBA. Let me see what you guys talking about in the chat, man. Salute to the chat, by the way. HRM the Great, then we don't allow other players to help us up. We should keep that same energy. HRM the Great, they allow players to help them up today. They allow, now most of them don't, but I've seen it. I've seen opposing players help each other up. Let me see. It's if Cat said the team will follow. Facts. If Cat said it, the team will follow. Exactly. They're following his lead. Let Let me see. HM Great Facts. They love it when the Knicks lose. They hate Dolan. Yeah, that's true. They hate that they have to ask for a media pass every game. That's the truth. Yeah, the media hates that, and it's a past relationship with Dolan. Because Dolan, he definitely called out the writers. I didn't point that out, but he definitely called. There was an article I have here where he calls out the writers. He says they, and I forgot to make that connection. I'm glad you brought me back to that HM the Great real quickly. So Dolan says he doesn't talk to the media because it's all about clicks and views. They don't really care about capturing the real story, right? That's why podcasts are powerful, because I don't need the media to tell me about what was said on the podcast. I can go watch the podcast myself and see exactly what was said. So the media back in the day, before there was, video interviews and things of that nature, you had written interviews, right? And you still got written interviews today, but I'm just saying, now everything's on video. I don't need you to tell me what so-and-so said. I can actually go read and view, go see what so-and-so said. So that's why, to fast forward everything that came after Dolan said that, I'm not sure if the two are connected, but I don't know. You never know. But ever since then, we see it. We seen what they tried to do with Thibs and McCall. Now you see what and then Josh Hart. I didn't even get the Josh Hart. Josh Hart. They tried to make the Josh Hart a thing, but they nipped it in the bud, like I said on the live play-by-play. Because Josh Hart, hold on, let me see if I get the image of it. Do I have the image? Josh Hart and Coach Thibs. Okay, I might have it right here. Stephon Bondi. Knicks Josh Hart shrugs off fiery exchange with Tom Thibodeau. Let me see if I get the image. He don't got the image. Okay. No image, but there's a scene of Josh Hart, Coach Thibs yelling at each other. But look at the response. You all know me. You know my feelings towards Thibs. Hart said, "You're not going to find a more loyal player. I love Thibs. I think it was just my frustration coming out in the flow of the game." Guys, I said this in the middle of the broadcast Saturday. I said that, guys, I've been playing basketball with my friends for 15 years. Parks, competition, we get into arguments, we yell at each other. It's the norm. I get into arguments with the opposing team. The opposing team. You think that if you don't know us, we're going to fight. Right after the game, handshake, good game. Good physical game. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You can't allow this media to make us bicker and make it look like there's a problem. That's their goal. Hello? That's the goal. So when you want to make Cat have an issue with the Knicks, right? When you want to talk about Josh Hart with Coach Thibs, you're feeding into what they want. And you're giving them the clicks and the views. Knicks teammates dap up. Why are they using hip-hop language? Hip-hop represents beef. Knicks teammates dap up. Draymond Green, despite his controversial, this gets clicks and views. Simple. You fell for a click and view clickbait. If I'm Towns and if you come from an old school era, I respect your opinion. Oh, they shouldn't do that. They didn't do it in my day. But this is not your day. It's a new day. These guys are friends. You don't really have beef in the NBA. There may be, there's beefs. I'm pretty sure. But I think Chris Paul don't get along with some people. Yeah. Of course you're going to have that. But for the most part, these guys are all friends, man. Do not let it fool you. Like Jimmy and Towns. Okay, Jimmy and Towns got beef, but do they even talk? Do they even speak to each other? No. I didn't hear Towns say, Jimmy, I got to see that Jimmy guy again. They just keep to themselves. If I don't rock with you, I don't rock with you. That's the nature of the NBA. Okay, now I do got to okay. I'm gonna speed rush through everything. But before I speed rush through everything, we do got to talk about the hat of the day. The Knick hat of the day is right here. Boom. Go check out this hat. This is what's called the Z hat. Now I got on this is not a Z hat. This is from another independent creator. I can't remember it off the top of the head. But this hat right here, the Z hat, what we talking about today, is from an independent media merchandise company, meaning they're not with the big, the a 5950 or the, you know, all of the major brands. They're an independent, officially licensed brand, and so they can do Knicks hats and all types of teams hats. So today we're gonna be rocking with them. This is the hat of the day, the Knick hat of the day. You can go to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, click on discounted Knick merch, and this will pop up. And you can see I got 3 different versions. I like this one right here. This is a nice little summertime joint right here. I like this. I mean, it's white on white, so it's hard to see, but it's man, it's fire, right? I like that hat a lot. I think that might be my next purchase. This is also another little springtime, summertime vibe right here. Z hats. I think their hats are handmade. I know this one I have here. This is a Z hat. I actually wore this on the play-by-play. This is a handmade hat. Great quality. Great quality. I love the colors. I love the build. You know what I'm saying? So if you like any of the hats that's on my shelf, all you gotta do is go to the blog, thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, and you could find all different types of hats here. If you click on the discounted merch tab, right, it'll take you to everything we got on it. Sometimes I got some jerseys up there, mostly hats though. Go check it out. Go check it out. Go check it out. Go check it out. Okay. Now I'm gonna move forward. I think I talked about the Josh Hart thingy, right? Yeah. So Josh Hart, Coach Thibs, that's nothing. See, I spent 0 time on that because it's nothing. Don't allow these guys to divide the fan base. All right. They're on an agenda to divide Knicks fans and to put comments out there that you try to divide the Knicks as well. And I'm not going to allow it to work, and I'm going to call it out every single time. Let's see. Oh, by the way, salute to Keith Watkins in the building. Channel member. Salute to you, Keith, from out the ATL. A lot of ish will come after the players retire. Gilbert and Kwame. Yeah, well, this would be chance. We gotta allow that to happen. We gotta allow that to happen. Until that happens, we can't speculate because we don't got the information. The Thibs haters are milking that issue. Facts, Knicks will be champs. Crimes Dad. Let me see. Oh, you talking about saving something? You guys having your own conversation. Let me see what else you guys talking about before I move. Yuri says, if Cat says that the team will follow, period. Once Cat says that, the team would choose to respond. 80s, 90s, 70s. I'm telling you right now, in the 80s and 90s, Draymond wouldn't even have a podcast. So the only way for him to say that, it would be throughout the media. And if he would have said that in the media, then Cat would have had to respond. It was a different time, bro. Different time. HRM Gray says, facts. They love it when the Knicks lose. They hate Dolan. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Let me move forward. So we do got, make sure I cover everything in Flagship though. Okay. Oh, okay. I had the Brunson injury in there too. Okay. We talked about Brunson though. So I'm gonna move on to the Knick of the week. So this week's Knick of the week, let me make sure I get the right drum roll, is none other than, as soon as it loads up, Mikal Bridges. Give a New York City salute to Mikal Bridges for winning the Knick of the week. This is for the time period of March 10th to the 16th. Mikal Bridges, he had a cool 22.3 points, 60% from the field, and 5 assists. Had some good moments. Of course, we cannot forget the overtime game winner against Portland, right? He had a good game in the Kings game with the 28 points, setting the tone. We did lose to the Warriors, but that was probably the only demerit on his resume. But outside of that, I think Mikal Bridges, his play in the 2 wins, we don't get those wins without him. Sort of being like a first option kind of dude, definitely a second option kind of dude in the offense. He looked really good, really comfortable. I like seeing more from Mikal, like the 2-3 pick and rolls. I want to see more 2-5 pick and rolls. But the 2-3 pick and roll, I love that. I love what they've been running, man. I think that when Brunson gets back, as these other guys gel and you get to start to see what they can do without Cap, they're going to only be better with Cap. So I got to give Mikal a big time salute for stuff. And the 5 assists. We can't forget the 5 assists. Can't forget the 5 assists. That makes a big difference because it shows that he can do a little playmaking. Now, he's not the playmaker Josh Hart is, and I know that some of y'all that's gonna sound crazy, but he does it more within the flow of the game. Not really a bring up the ball kind of guy. He's not a bring up the ball kind of guy, but he can pass if he's being double teamed, right? If he doesn't have the shot that he wants, or if guys are doing little back cuts. Mikal has shown that he can be productive. So he is definitely the Knick of the week. I'm gonna jump in the word on the street, then power rankings, and then we're wrapping. So word on the street. Basically just seeing where the Knick fans are in this point in time. How do Knick fans really feel? Oh, by the way, this is some of the videos I was talking about. This video right here. No, it's a lie. I think it was a lie. No, yeah. This video right here, the Jalen Brunson one, the one thing they aren't telling you about Brunson's injury, that's the video where I told y'all where he's coming back. So if you would have watched this video and then you would have saw the Shams report, you wouldn't have been surprised. You wouldn't have been surprised because I told you everything that pretty much Shams was going to say timeline-wise. But I'm going to jump into sorry. I'm going to jump inside some of these polls. I'm going to start from ascending order. So after last night's decisive victory over the Kings, do you feel the Knicks can thrive until Jalen Brunson returns? 100 votes. I'm going to say yes. 83% of Knicks fans say yes. 10% say no. 7% say they don't know. And of course, I think this was before the game. So, and then of course the Trailblazer game happens, right? Mikal Bridges, he was the Knick of the night. Okay, cool. With the Knicks climbing into the top 25 in defensive rankings since Brunson's absence, do you think the team can thrive in the playoffs due to their much improved defense? I'm going to say yes. 65% of Knicks fans of the 108 votes think that the Knicks are Eastern Conference Finals bound. 29% say no, they won't pass the second round. 6% say they don't know. So Knicks fans are kind of confident that we can do well, especially with the defense getting better. Oh, and by the way, I didn't do the upcoming program. I'm going to do that next. There's no consolation prizes in the NBA, but for some reason, oh no, I'm reading the I'm reading the game post. My bad. Hold on. Let me move up. If Jalen Brunson had played last night, would the Knicks have been able to defeat the Warriors? Yes, he's the closer. 91 votes, 88% of Knicks fans say yes. I agree. I think that if Cat plays, we definitely win the game because that's all we was missing, the closer element. Did Karl-Anthony Towns? Oh, and by the way, to add to this point, but Jalen Brunson's a liability on defense. Moses Moody had 18 points. He had 4 threes. That would have been Jalen Brunson's assignment. Does Moses Moody get more points? Maybe, but the bottom line is his assignment still put in work. So I'm not really concerned about, that whole thing there. I think that Brunson definitely wins the game because I think it still would be a close game. In fact, I think honestly we could be up big with Brunson out there because the defense looks good. I don't think Brunson compromises the defense, and I think that the offense would have been way better. Did the Knicks let Karl-Anthony Towns down? This is interesting. This was today, a couple of hours ago. Did the Knicks let Karl-Anthony Towns down by shaking hands with Draymond Green after losing to the Warriors? I'm going to say no, it's not that deep, man. 39 votes. 38% say no, it's not that deep. But 62% say yes, that's their teammate. A lot of you guys go back to a different era in time, and I know you guys wouldn't have done it, but that's just not the era in the league that we live in today. Okay, that's my final word. So that's word on the street. By the way, I do gotta shift gears. Let me see if this is the updated programming. No, it's not. So I'm gonna do this in research mode. So while I do this in research mode, I'm getting ready to tell you guys about the upcoming schedule. So hopefully you guys can, check out some of the future productions that we do have on this team. As I work on this in the background, this Wednesday into Thursday, midnight. I say Wednesday into Thursday because people get confused. I don't want you guys to think it's Thursday at midnight. No, it's Wednesday at midnight. This Wednesday, we will do the after midnight stream. And for the second week in a row, and it's not going to always stay like this, but I will do it for everyone. But it will be a subscriber only mode. Eventually it'll be members only mode, but I'm gonna do subscriber only mode. So be sure to check out the Wednesday show. Now, right now, I don't have a topic for the Wednesday show because I like to do it when there's a fresh topic. So between now and then, I'll give you guys the update as to what it will be. So stay on the lookout for that. Then, of course, we got the Knicks call-up show on Friday as I try to get this image up. Make sure you're there. And I think that we do got a game that night, so I do anticipate it being... we don't got a game. So, yeah, so this will be a real quality topic-based call-up show. And I will let you guys know exactly what that would be. As I try to... I don't know where the hell my new schedule is. Hold on. Let me just get this up here. 2 seconds. Technical difficulties. You know, I'm a one-man band. You know, I'm not like... Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. But yeah, this is the schedule so you guys can see. So Friday, 10:45, Knicks call-up shows going down. Make sure you're there. Then Sunday, we got Parlay Builder Sundays. This is a members-only show, so this is another reason why you should become a member. So you could make sure you're there on the Parlay Builder Sunday show. We're going to try to make some picks. I'm going to try to put out a pick today, too. So if you are a hardcore Knick fan, be on the lookout for that. Let me see. And then Monday week, of course, this week inside the Knicks at noon. I know I was tardy today. I had some technical difficulties, but we will be rocking out at noon. And then Tuesday, I'm not sure. I need to ask you guys. Let me know. Should we do the live play-by-play Tuesday? Because honestly, it's against the Mavericks, and the Mavericks are not good at all. I don't know if I want to do that game, y'all. So we're gonna really see where if we'll do that. We'll see if we'll do that. I'm not 100% sure. I'm definitely not 100% sure. So the Maxine in the building. Great to see you in the chat. Let me see what you guys talking about in the chat before I move forward. Don't want to leave nobody behind. Jump out of studio mode. Yuri says the good news is Jalen will be back late March. Knicks will either be 3rd or 4th seed. No, not all 4th seed. We're going to be 3rd seed. You know we're soft ducking to not get the 3rd seed. Yeah, you know what? Hey, Yuri, that might be the topic or at least one of the topics for the midnight stream. Thank you. This is why I like doing the shows, because hearing you guys' comments really gives me good ideas. That might be the topic. Should the Knicks fall to the 4th seed? I don't think it's a good idea, but we can unpack it. Okay, we're going to unpack that. That will be the Wednesday show for sure. We're going to touch on that. That might not be the only topic, but we will touch on that. Let me see. What else? A lot of Israel come. Okay, I read that. Let me see. Make sure I got everything. Thank you for On Dios for saying great show. I do got one more thing I want to touch on, and that is the power rankings. Now these power rankings for ESPN, I've been using ESPN a lot. I kind of fell off with the Bleacher Report because for some reason it doesn't update into my list, so I forget to add it to the blog. You know, I only deal with what's in front of me. But this power ranking was updated on May. Well, you see, I'm ready for May. March 12th, okay? March 12th was the last time this was updated, okay? And these are the rankings. Cleveland number 1, no problem with that. OKC number 2, Boston number 3, no issues there. The Nuggets number 4, no issues there. Lakers slide in a bit. They was 4. Now they're 5. Memphis, no problem with that. They did get a couple of good wins. And they got us at number 7. So Knicks, you know, we take the 7th spot. We got to win tonight. If we win tonight, we'll probably hold the 7th spot, or maybe we'll move up because Memphis definitely won all of these games. No, they lost to Cleveland though. So they got a loss to Cleveland. I know they beat Sacramento. I watched that game. And I know they beat Miami because I was watching the other Miami game where they talked about this game. Let me see. The Lakers. Lakers have Denver. I think Lakers lost to Denver, right? Okay. The Knicks might could move up because I could see a world where the Lakers falling down, but we'll keep an eye on that. But Thank you guys for rocking with me, man. I really do appreciate you guys. You guys, all the support you guys give me. It's a pleasure having you guys in the chat. A lot of you mainstays, of course, the channel members. I salute all you guys. Keep rocking. Thibs will never intentionally lose a game. That's big facts. Knicks will be champs 25-26. Never sleep on any opponent. Yes, you guys are saying some of the reasons why I feel there is no sliding to the 4th seed. I don't see it happening. Look at the schedule, guys. I mean, these are to me, even if I'm being objective, you got Miami Heat, who lost like 8 games in a row. San Antonio without Wemby. Charlotte Hornets, bottom feeders, even though they play well some nights. Washington, definitely bottom feeders. That's 4 wins, guys. Those 4 wins cement us as the 3rd seed. So then you got Dallas. Then you got the Clippers again, which is the Clippers are a winnable game. We owe them. We played them tough the first night, but they'll be coming to New York, the Garden, home court advantage. The Bucks, that would be tough. And then Portland again. Honestly, guys, the Knicks should go. The Knicks should go at least 7-1 in their next 8 games, even without Brunson. So this was the right time for Brunson to get hurt. I'm going to keep it real. Your only real tough matchup is Milwaukee. And they're beatable. I just don't like to say 8-0. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks go 8-0. I mean, San Antonio. I mean, Charlotte, Washington, Dallas. You got Milwaukee Clippers. You owe the Clippers. So you might drop one of those games. You could win both of those games, but you might drop one of those games. And then Portland. So you're either going to go 6-2, 7-1, or 8-0. I don't see you losing the 3rd seed. But we're going to touch more on that on Thursday. But I have to give a big time salute. Oh, my God. J-Tap. Salute to J-Tap, 8-0. J-Tap is a West Coast traveler. He went to all 5 road games. You got to give J-Tap a big time salute. You know, he definitely deserves it. He really put boots to ground. He went to every single arena and he wasn't capping. He put up pictures of every single place he went to. He even put up a nice picture of his family in the Discord server. Salute to J-Tap and his entire family. We appreciate you for being the what would we call it? The investigative reporter for the Objective Knicks Fan Nation. We do appreciate you, J-Tap. That was great. Yeah, he has some nice footage. He had a nice Kobe picture. See, these are the things you get when you become a member, man. You guys got to join the channel, man. You guys are missing out. Salute to J-Tap for salute to you, man. Peace to you, J-Tap. Let me see. HM Great Magic were rolling at the beginning of the season when healthy. Yeah, that's a fact. And that's why, honestly, I'm going to keep it real. Whoever got the Magic in the first round, that's going to be a nice little series. That is going to be whoever got the Magic in the first round, that's going to be a nice little series. That's going to be a nice little series. Hold on, let me get the standards up right quick. We wrap on that. Let me see. Keith, make sure I got all you guys' comments. So, wow. So Cleveland and Boston gonna get you might get Orlando and Cleveland again. Cause I think the whole, I ain't gonna lie. This playing in the Eastern Conference, I know the West is better because they got some better teams down here that's gonna be competing in the play-in. But I ain't gonna lie, the Eastern Conference play-in, hella interesting, man. Hella interesting. Oh, wait, hold on. Knicks would be champs. That's you. Sorry, hold on. Knicks would be champs. You're the SB dude in the Discord. I never realized that was you. Knicks would be champs. I thought you were somebody else. Holy cow. Okay, yeah. So Knicks would be champs was also at the game. Salute the Knicks would be champs. I didn't realize that was you. Was the SB guy. Okay, I know who you are now in the Discord because sometimes people use different names in the Discord server from their YouTube names. Okay, now I know who Knicks would be champs. Okay, now I know I'm talking to. That's why Knicks. Okay. I should have known it was Knicks would be champs because this guy in the Discord server, he writes these paragraphs. Like he writes like these paragraphs to explain himself. And it's to the point where sometimes we got to answer him with voice notes. Oh, salute to you, Harlem in the building. Definitely join the replay game. I'm gonna give a big time salute to all the channel members, all the subscribers, all the channel, the channel mods, and all the people that just rocks with the channel, man. I'm gonna give a big time salute. Harlem just tuned in. Salute to Crimes Dad, channel member. Got to get you in the Discord server, Crimes Dad. I don't think you're in there. Salute to Knicks will be Chance 2526. Knicks Tape Madness Discord server, mod and channel member, Crimes Dad. Again, JTap, Discord server. Also, Knicks, you know, he's a channel member. He's everything, man. He's the investigative reporter for the channel, man. He was out there. He had all the footage. If you want to see the footage, you gotta get in the Discord server. Salute to HRM the Great. Of course, On Dios, the MVP mod of all MVP mods. Salute to On Dios. He's always sending me stuff on IG. Salute to him. Of course, Yuri, channel member and Discord server member. He's always bringing the fire, always bringing the content. Salute to Maxine, the original channel member. Salute to everybody. Oh, of course, Sam, my man Sam was in the building too. Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. Salute to Sam and channel mod. Salute to all you guys that tune in. I do appreciate the support. Let's keep the movement growing. Let's continue hitting the subscribe and the like buttons and pushing this channel forward as we enter into the new phase. Oh, I forgot to also tell you guys, I might have a new announcement of a new partnership I'm working with the live play-by-plays. So definitely, y'all, I appreciate you guys checking me out. That's all for the pod. So until next time, Knicks fans, let's go Knicks.